we went out to one of the local beaches with a team from Green Adelaide. And I was really quite nervous because I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, you know. Nessie did not disappoint me. She did so well. I think within 5 or 6 minutes, she found her first fox den.
Amazing.
They knew it was there, but it was a test to see how she went. So she found that, then she found another one. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's done it, you know, it's working. So we went to another site where they said there is no fox dens. They'd cleared the area, no fox dens. We went there and Nessie found one. It was hiding under a bush that they just didn't even see it. So she found it. So yeah, that was a proud mummy moment.
Welcome to the Possum Companion, where pets are part of our family. I'm your host, Joanna Herrera, the founder of Coco and Bondi. I'm very excited to interview experts and pet owners to share their stories and insights so you can use them to take care of your babies. Hi, Mandy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good. So who you brought here today?
I've brought Badger. He's a Cocker Spaniel and he's one of our detection dogs.
And how old is him?
Badger is nearly 2. He's 2 this month.
So what sort of job he does?
Badger is our conservation detection dog. He searches our pygmy blue-tongued lizards, which are an endangered tiny little lizard that lives in trapdoor spider burrows.
That's great. So what happened when he finds a lizard?
So he's still learning it at the moment, but what happens is when he finds a lizard in a burrow, he has a sniff of the burrow to confirm that there is a lizard there, and then he goes into a sit position to say, hey, there's a lizard here, Mum, reward me.
So he doesn't grab them with their mouth or attack them or anything?
No, they're not allowed to interact with any animal that we are locating. They're not allowed to interact. They just have to do basically what we call a neutral indicator to say it's here, but I'm not touching it.
Oh,
yeah.
That's great. So smart. So do you have any particular sort of word or anything that you tell them for them to identify a particular animal, or how does it work?
Yes. So each of my dogs that are on different species, I will use a different word to say we're going to look for this one today.
Okay.
So they do start to learn that after a little while. That fox means, oh, we're going to find foxes or fox dens. And the word I use for the pygmy blue tongues is pygmy. So he's like, oh, we're looking for pygmies today.
So you got other dogs as well with you?
I do have other dogs. I haven't got them here, but I've got 2 other spaniels. I've got another Cocker Spaniel, which is Badger's sister. Her name's Hetty. And I've got an English Springer Spaniel, who is Nessie, who does predominantly fox den detection. And she also does pygmy blue-tongued lizard detection with Badger. And Hetty does yellow sedge skipper butterfly larvae detection.
So they are yours?
They're mine.
Okay,
yes.
that's great. So right now, he's wearing his vest, so it means that he's working.
Yes. So this is his work vest. So when we're going out to, look for the pygmy blue tongues, I'll pop this on just before we're about to set him off to work. So he kind of is probably thinking he's actually going to look for some in here.
He's like, I'm waiting for the word.
yeah,
for the signal.
Much. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's so cute. So explain me a little bit what you do at the conservation and detection dogs, I say.
Yeah.
Because I would love to,
Sure.
to understand and for people to know what is that.
Yes. So people would contact us and say, can your dogs locate a particular species of animal or
within
plant?
their houses or where?
In the wildlife realm. So if it's, we'll say fox dens. I had Green Adelaide contact me a few years back and ask if we could detect fox dens for them, because though they're quite easy to see, they're actually challenging in many ways because they, might hide in the bushes or anything like that. So if it's something that I think we can do, I will say, yep, I need a training aid. So it gives the dog an indication of what we're supposed to find. So I would use say with the fox dens, I used fox hair from a female fox because they are the only ones that will actually have a den when they're having puppies or babies. So I teach my dogs, this odour of the fox hair is going to bring your reward. You locate this odour, you're going to get your favourite treat So that's how we do it.
So
with
they have
pretty
to
much-
work hard for their treats.
They work very hard for their treats, especially in the fox dens because we're up in sand dunes. The terrain can be quite steep, hazardous, as in, because it's often up the top of a cliff or sort of just in sand dunes. So they do work hard. We had a dog out, my daughter's dog, Maisie, who's a Springer Spaniel. We were out yesterday with her and we did like 9 kilometres just on one beach area, going back and forth looking for fox dens. I teach the dogs to locate the odour pretty much the same way for each odour and then fine-tuning it if it's something that's on a plant or in the ground or something. We then just fine-tune things a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a long process.
Yeah, that is. So what sort of things, like, is not like any particular animals that they're looking for that are dangerous for them, just in case if they come and bite them or something?
Yeah, we haven't done anything. I mean, a fox could for sure attack one of the dogs. So the dogs are only looking for the dens. So, and I do teach the dogs to sit back from the mouth of the den so they're not like right in it, because we don't want any interaction with the species that we're searching for. So probably the bigger hazard out there is, snakes, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, there's not generally any interaction with the dogs.
But they look for a snake as well, or no?
No.
Only lizards?
Yep. Endangered pygmy blue tongue lizards, fox dens that are active, so have actually got a vixen in there with pups, the yellow sedge skipper butterfly larvae, and we've done koala scat detection looking for koalas. They're not endangered here, but we had a rescue group that couldn't locate a koala a couple of years ago and they needed a dog to go out and find it. So I trained Nessie on locating
because
a koala.
the koalas normally they are very high.
They're up in the trees, yes.
And the butterflies as well. So how do they do that?
Well, the koalas are definitely up high in the tree, but my dog found this one injured koala that had been hit by a car but had managed to climb away and go up a tree. So she found that was about 20 metres up a tree. So she did really good finding that. With the butterfly larvae, they're on a low-growing sedging grass. So, they're probably 1 or 2 feet off the ground on this big bushy sedging grass. So they're sort of still within a height that the dogs can locate. But we just, no matter where it is, whether it's on the ground, underground, up high in a tree, we train the dogs to just go to the closest source of odour from that species.
Absolutely. So is only this particular breed or any kind of dog can do that?
Yeah, any breed can do it if they've got the necessary drive and determination to do it. It's hard work. It's, we can walk kilometres in one session doing it. So the dog has to have staying power, the energy to keep going, even if they're not finding anything because there's nothing there to find.
Yeah.
Like yesterday was a prime example. I think we searched for 2.5 hours before we found one fox den. So the dogs have got to be really happy to keep going even though they're not locating anything.
Yeah, they have to enjoy it. And how do you know that they have the willing to do it? They're willing to go and search for weird animals.
Yeah. I kind of look for dogs that are going to be a little bit crazy.
Okay.
The dogs that don't make perfect pets, really.
Okay.
Dogs that want to run all day. They don't want to sit down on the couch all day and do nothing. They want to be doing a job. I go for the spaniels because spaniels are known to be a little bit crazy and have very high drive for ball or, toys or anything like that, or even food. Mine are all food-driven dogs, so they love their food rewards. And, the spaniels are just perfect for it. There's a lot of spaniels out in Australia and overseas doing conservation because they will just keep going. Even if they're dead tired, they just will keep going because they love it so much. Yeah.
So is there any particular age you have to start training them, or they can be old and you can train them after a certain age?
Yeah, look, a lot of people will go and get a rescue dog from the pound as long as it's got all the necessary requirements in its personality. I like to get them from puppies because I like to know how they've been raised. And I can start training. I won't necessarily teach them an odour while they're babies I'll let them get to probably 6 or 8 months of age generally before I put them on an odor. But then they've got all their background training. They've got their basic, cues of sit, down, recall, all that type of stuff. And I just like raising them from puppies.
Yeah. So how long does it take for you to train a dog to be able to search for those animals?
So it does vary a little bit on the dog and on the species that you're searching for. He's probably been going a year on the pygmy blue tongues with a little bit of a break when we couldn't actually get the odour because they were quite endangered and we sort of couldn't get the odour. My dog Nessie, who does a lot of the fox dens, I think she's pretty quick to train. She's got all the necessary cues, turn left, turn right, go forward, come back, all that type of stuff. So she can pick up a new odour pretty quickly within probably a few weeks. It's the finite details of, is it up high? Is it down low? Is it, going to be hiding under a rock? Or that's the challenging parts of training is those little details. Teaching them the odour is the easy part.
But do you teach them like doing as examples for them or actually looking for the animals? Like during the training,
So during training, I'll just have the odour. It won't be the real live animal. It's just the odour. I use a special little tube called a get scent tube, and it's designed to have the odour impregnated on it. And so I'll use those tubes for the various species that we're looking for. It gives the same smell as the animal does.
Yeah.
But there's no animal there. It's just a tube. So, it doesn't matter if they, if it's out for 2 hours, it's not going to be harmful to the animal because it's just a tube. And then once we get out in the field, then we transition to the real live animal, have to get animal ethics approval and things like that to, be able to look for these animals. So we have to go through all the approvals for that to have the dogs looking. So it's quite a long process.
Yeah.
My Hetty, his sister, she's been on the yellow sedge skipper now in training probably about 14 months, maybe a little bit longer, but hers is a very tiny odour, very challenging to locate. And so, she's been out in the field a couple of times for training and she's done really well. We're still not complete yet though. I still want her better. So, and it's been a long time.
Yeah, I reckon it's like different dogs, they have different personalities and,
they
ways
do.
to learn and everything, like humans.
Yes, absolutely, and not all dogs can do this job, because they might be able to sniff out because all dogs can sniff naturally, but they just don't have all the rest of the requirements to keep doing it day after day.
Yeah, so in this moment, how many dogs do you have at the conservation and dog detection?
So we've got 4 dogs currently working. So I've got my 3. I've got Badger, Hetty and Nessie. And my daughter's also got a dog who's actually a pup from Nessie. So she's now a 2-year-old dog. So so she's going out doing fox den. So we've got 4 dogs all together working.
That's great. So what sort of which sort of people are looking for this type of services?
So I've done a lot of work with Green Adelaide, which is a government organisation, to do the fox dens and the yellow sedge skipper butterfly larvae. They do a lot of endangered or invasive species. So we're sort of helping them out with the pygmy blue tongue lizards. We're working with Flinders University. There's an honours student doing his PhD. So we're working with him. We're stationed at the university at the moment, but down the track we'll actually go out into the field. I've had private people that just own some acreage and say, hey, can you come and check if there's any fox dens? So I'll do it for anyone who asks, basically. Yeah.
Amazing. So is there any story that you want to tell us that you have come up with, taking those dogs looking for a particular animal or something like that?
Yeah, so I think probably the one that stands out most in my head is the very first time I took Nessie to go out and do a fox den. I'd never even seen a fox den in my life. I had never come across one, not that I know of. So we went out to one of the local beaches with a team from Green Adelaide, and I was really quite nervous because I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work, Nessie did not disappoint me. She did so well. I think within 5 or 6 minutes, she found her first fox den.
Amazing.
They knew it was there, but it was a test to see how she went. So she found that, then she found another one. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's done it, it's working. So we went to another site where they said there is no fox dens. They'd cleared the area, no fox dens. We went there and Nessie found one. It was hiding under a bush that they just didn't even see it. So she found it. So yeah, that was a proud mummy moment. So yeah, that one really stands out the most for me.
Yeah, of course. And it was after her training.
Yeah. And like it showed that we were doing the right thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like finding the koala that had been hit by a car the night before. I had a phone call from the rescue team. Can Nessie come and see if she can find this koala? So I'm like, yeah, we'll give it a go. We knew where it had been hit, but they'd scouted the area, could not find this koala. And the damage that had been done to the car was quite significant. So we knew that the koala probably had some kind of injuries. It was imperative that we found it. It was so important. So we started off, and probably an hour into the search, Nessie just beelined for this big tall tree. She actually started going up the tree trunk and she's sniffing around. And then she just sat and she's like looking up at the tree.
Is there?
And we looked, and yeah, probably about 20, 25 metres or so up the tree was this big male koala. He had some grazing on him, but he was climbing, he was eating.
So it was fine.
He was fine. He then said, thank you very much for finding me, and promptly urinated on me. So that was, a little bit gross having a koala wee on me.
Oh, my God.
Gratitude. So, yeah, they're the ones that really sort of stick out because they were the first time of Nessie going out and doing these particular things. So, yeah, I was very proud of her.
Yeah, that's cute. Yeah. So I have a question, probably didn't happen, but what happened when it was the bushfires? Did you got required for any of those things, like trying to find koalas or things like that?
I wasn't, my organisation wasn't around back then.
Okay.
But I didn't have the dogs that I have now. But I kept thinking, they need a dog, they need a dog, they need a dog.
Absolutely.
There was no dogs that I'm aware of in South Australia going out looking for the koalas. That was more interstate. They had the koala dog teams out looking for the injured koalas or ones that had just been displaced by all the damage that had been done to the environment. But, yeah, I know now that Nessie could go out and do it, and it wouldn't take these other guys very long to actually pick that up, to learn to go out and do that. Hopefully we're never needed in that sort of situation. But,
I was thinking this will be like a proper situation where you really need to bring those dogs to help.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because they, the koalas that get so badly burnt on their paws and they can't climb trees because their paws are so badly burnt. So it's really important to find them really quickly so they can get the medical attention that they need. So, yeah, hopefully it never happens, but, I know we can go out and do that if it does.
So happen. When this organization started, because you were saying that it wasn't during the bushfire, so when did you guys start?
So I really started probably about 3.5 years ago, and I just had Nessie back then, my fox den springer. So I just had her. Then I got Hetty probably a couple of years later, and then got these.
So who established the business? You established the business 3 years ago?
Yep.
And why?
I'm a vet nurse by trade. I started actually in search and rescue with a previous dog that I had. So we were searching for missing people in collapsed buildings and things like that in training. I did that for probably 1.5 years, 2 years. And then I'm like, we're lucky here in Australia, we don't get the earthquakes and that other countries get. And I'm like, I'd really, it'd be really good to be able to go out and help in those sorts of situations, help, find missing people.
Yeah.
But I'm like, in reality, it's probably not going to happen here. So I'm like, my dog.
So you are from Australia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in England, but came out here when I was a little kid. And I want a job that my dog and I can go and do as a team that we're going to be used.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
You're always going to have your baby next to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love my dogs. And I'm like, what can I do? I loved search and rescue. It was really, really good. But, yeah, we don't have the damage that they do overseas, which is kind of good. So then I started Googling it, as you do, and I came across conservation dogs in the UK. And I'm like, oh, this sounds really good.
Yeah.
I love animals, being a vet nurse. I love all types of animals. This could be really good. Set about, okay, I'm going to do this. So I located a breeder of the sort of dogs that I wanted, which was an English Springer Spaniel. Got myself a little puppy, 5-6 months later. She's going to be my conservation dog. Then COVID hit.
Oh.
And everything just stopped, as you know. So I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? I've got this high energy bundle of puppy that needs something to do. So a few
it was her?
No, it was my other dog, my Nessie, my brown and white Springer. So I'm like, so a few of us got together that had already done search and rescue, and we're like, let's just do search and rescue for a little while. Let COVID go. And then, fast forward 2 years, COVID passed on, and Green Adelaide contacted me and said, can your dog detect fox dens? And I just said, yes. I'm just going to do it because I'm pretty sure she could. And and here we are now. And the reason they asked for a fox den detection dog is because of the beach nesting birds, like things like the hooded plovers. They nest on the beach. They're a flight bird, so they can fly, but they nest on the ground on the beach. They lay their eggs in a little divot in the sand, and so they're at real high risk of being predated on by the foxes and off-lead dogs and, that type of thing. So there's only about 88, I think it is, breeding pairs of these hooded plovers left in the metropolitan Adelaide. And they were just getting wiped out. There was one family of birds that had 8 nested tamps and not a single baby bird survived because they were just getting, eaten. So the Green Adelaide knew they had to do something to help. And they're not going to mitigate all the issues because, you just can't. But foxes were a big problem. So they're like, let's deal with foxes. So, so that's when Nessie and I started doing the fox dens to try and help save these hooded plovers. Because they're not a native animal, they're actually very invasive, and they've made Australia home and they've adapted to our conditions really well, and they are probably one of the biggest predators to our wildlife that we have. So they'll eat anything, basically, the little eggs on the beach, the little baby chicks, endangered lizards, marsupials,
snakes. No?
Unfortunately, I don't think they do. I shouldn't say unfortunately. Snakes have a place in our ecology and that, but the foxes are just responsible for, wiping out a lot of our species or contributing to the loss of our species because they are not native to Australia. So, and they're just breeding at a crazy rate, so it's not good for our wildlife. So, we'll go and locate the dens, and if there's active dens, they'll let the councils know.
Okay, so, that's interesting. So are you constantly looking for new dogs, or you only use your 4 dogs to do that job?
No, I generally only use my own and my daughter's. I've just got another puppy that I will be developing up as a conservation detection dog. So then we'll have like a team of 5 dogs. So then I can sort of rotate them around. Okay, today we're going to use this dog. Tomorrow we're going to use this dog. That way none of them are getting overworked. And I can also do other species as well. I don't mind a dog that can do multiple species, but I just don't want to overwork my dogs.
Yeah. So what other sort of things you do with your doggies out of work? Like, let's say that they're not working. What do you do with them?
They love the beach.
Okay.
Because they're spaniels, they absolutely love the beach. They love swimming. They just enjoy running. Running is their big thing. So we'll, quite often go for a run around a park or something, go to the beach, let them have a swim. And they don't even care if it's really, really cold weather. They're going in that water. If they've had a really busy day the day before, they're happy to just hang out at home and just, run around the backyard and play ball. Might do some trick training just for fun with them, just to break up the monotony for them and give them something fun, or they just hang out.
relax.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is important that they do have downtime.
Yeah.
They can't always be on the go, so they do need that downtime.
So do they work like every day, or you put them to work during break, like you give them breaks, or?
Yeah, it depends. So the fox den season generally goes for about 2 or 3 months of the year, and then there's no more until the following season. So we've just started fox dens this season, last week. That'll go for a couple of months.
So he will be tired today. He's like,
he's been doing the pygmy blue tongues. We've had a little bit of a break. We were doing trials at the university, had a little break, probably a month or two, then got back into it again last week, I think it was. So he'll do that a couple of times a week now until it's time to go out in the field, and then depends on the weather. I won't work the dogs when it's really hot. I don't think that's fair to them. The ground is really hot for them. If it's warm weather when we're going out, we'll generally start as the sun is coming up. So we're done by the time it's, in the mid-20s.
And I reckon they enjoy it because it's like they go from adventure all the time.
They do, absolutely. Everywhere it's different every time, So they absolutely love it. I think they're having a pretty happy life.
Is there any specifically diet for them? Like, because they have to be like all the time active and walking and all of that. Do you have any particular diet for them?
So I generally use a high protein diet. So they're on a lot of raw meat. It's a completely balanced diet. I generally use buy a commercial made raw. It's all packaged nicely. So I'll generally use that. If I go out and we're going away for a few days for work, I do also take some dry food with me, just so it's easy and convenient, because I'm not always going to have a fridge to keep the meat in. So they also do eat the dry food just for convenience.
And they eat it normally?
Oh, yeah. They love their food.
That's good.
And we use food predominantly for their rewards for finding whatever they're looking for. I use Prime 100 rolls. They love that.
So I would like to thank you for being here, Mandy. Do you have anywhere where people can contact you?
Email is conservationdogsa@gmail.com, and my website is www.conservationdog.com.au. And so everything is on those websites, and I post quite a fair bit on social media.
Yeah, so people know and learn more about what you do. And
absolutely. And, like we've been out today, so I'll post some pictures up over the next day or two of what we've done today. Just let people know, because there's a lot of people out there that are really concerned about the endangered species and what is being done to help preserve these animals.
And it's great to learn a little bit more about this topic, because it's very interesting and helpful for the world and Australia as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work, but we absolutely love it. It's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Possum Companion. If you have any further questions for our experts, feel free to leave them in the show notes or reach out to me directly. And if you are a pet expert who would love to contribute to this podcast, we will be thrilled to hear from you. Don't forget to follow us, and if you enjoyed today's episode, we will really appreciate a 5-star review. Thanks again, and we will see you at the next episode.